In this video, we're going to be talking about Windows and how to use it. In the last video, if you saw it, we talked a little bit about operating systems in general and what they do and what they are. But in this video, we're going to be focusing on Windows, and in particular Windows 10, because that's the program or the operating system that's in all city computers. So in Windows, you see the main screen is the desktop. And the desktop has on it icons. Now, icons can either be links to other programs, shortcuts to other programs, or they can be files themselves that you've saved onto the desktop, or they can be folders that you've created on the desktop to put files or shortcuts to files in. At the bottom left of the screen, you see the Start menu, and the Start menu has all of the programs that are currently installed on your computer. And to scroll the Start menu, you hover your mouse over the scroll bar, and you click with your left mouse button, and you drag the scroll bar down to see all of the programs installed on your computer. Another useful tip, if you are trying to find a program on your computer, is to click on the Start menu and type in the first couple letters of that program. So for example, the Notepad program, which is installed on any Windows computer, I type in the first couple letters of the program, and there it is. At the bottom of the screen, you see what's called the taskbar. Now, the taskbar is divided into three things. The first thing is the Start menu that we just talked about. The second thing are going to be some icons for programs that are currently open. And then on the far right, you've got the time and date. And then you have right here what are system icons, which are oftentimes hidden. So things like controlling your volume. You can change your volume right there. If you click on it, you can raise or lower the volume. You also find notifications right there as well. So let's talk about the desktop, and let's talk about how to create a folder on the desktop. Now, I've seen on a lot of computers, people oftentimes save all of their files to their desktop, and over time they have dozens of icons on their screen, and it just gets to be kind of a mess. What I'm going to show you is how to create a folder on your desktop and then move files from one location on your desktop to that folder. So if I right-click anywhere on an open area of the desktop, so click with your right mouse button on an open area of the desktop, you will see New. Now, you don't need to click on New. Just hover your mouse over the New area, and then you click on Folder. And it's going to create a folder right there where you clicked on your desktop. And it's going to give it a name by default. That default name in this case is New Folder. Now, if you see, the words New Folder are highlighted in blue. And when something's highlighted in blue, that means when you type something, it's going to automatically erase that and print out display what you're typing. So we're going to give name of this folder called Stuff. And notice when I typed it in, everything that was highlighted in blue was erased and replaced by what I typed. Now, once I've typed that, I can just press the Enter button on my keyboard, and it has created a folder called Stuff. Now, if you notice, folders on the desktop have a folder icon. Looks like a regular manila folder. And that means that icon is a folder. Now what we want to do is we want to move a file or files on our desktop to that stuff folder that we just created. Now, there are a few ways of doing it, but I'm going to show you one or two. So we have here on my desktop, I have some files that I created, and what we're going to do is we're going to move those files to that folder. Now, you can do it one at a time, or you can select multiple files at the same time and do it all at once. The first way is going to be doing it one at a time. Now, you take your left mouse button, so that's the mouse button that you normally click with. You click it and you hold down the button, and then you move or drag that file over to the folder. And notice when you do that, it highlights that folder in blue. That means you're moving that file over to that selected folder, and it says move to stuff, so that we're going to do that there. So now we've just moved one file to that folder. But what if we want to move multiple files? Well, that's fairly easy to do. Instead of clicking one and dragging them over, you can select multiple files by clicking an area near that folder and then dragging it down so that those two files are selected. And you know they're selected because they're both highlighted. You see the little box around them. That means that they're selected and they're highlighted. So we are going to now click and drag those two files over to the stuff folder. And there you have it. So if you want to see what's in that folder, all you have to do is double click. You take the left mouse button and you click twice, click, click, and there are those three files that we moved over to the stuff folder. Now, what if you want to move them back? Or what if you want to move them to another folder? Well, you can easily do that. So what we're going to do, we are going to, with this window open, we don't need to close it. We can leave it open, and we're going to create another folder. We're going to right-click on an open area of the desktop that doesn't have an icon on it, and we're going to go to New Folder, just like we did before. And again, it's highlighted in blue. That means it's ready for you to type over it. And we're going to name this folder Stuff 2, and then press Enter. So now you have a folder called Stuff 2. So we have Stuff, the Stuff folder, opened here. Now we're going to open the Stuff 2 folder alongside of it. Now you have two windows that are open on the screen. And what we want to do is we want to move those folders, those files rather, over to the other folder. So notice you have these two windows open, and I'm taking and clicking my mouse button over the top little area right here, and I can move that window over. Okay, so I'm going to move it kind of to the top left, but if you notice, it's kind of covering up this other window right here, and it's, you know, you want to have everything so you can see it on your screen. So you can resize a window. So this is what we're going to do. On the edge of that window, if you notice, you move the mouse over to the edge of the window, the pointer changes. It becomes like these little two arrows. And you move it over to the bottom right, it also changes, and then the far bottom, it also changes too. So we're going to move our mouse over to the bottom right corner. We're going to click and we're going to drag that window so that it takes up roughly about half the screen. Okay. Now the other window that's underneath it, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click on it so that it's now in the front or the foreground of the screen. And we're going to take our mouse arrow and go to the top left, and we're going to click and drag it to the top left of the screen. So now you have two windows that are side by side. You have that stuff folder that we first created and the stuff to folder. Now, how do you know which window is the one that you're working on? Well, if you click on the window, you'll see that the name of the folder that you're currently in is black. And then the one that you're not in is gray. So the black one is the one that we're currently in. So we're going to take the files and we're going to select them by clicking in a blank area underneath where the files are located. And we're going to highlight all of those files. Notice they're blue. If you click them and you drag them over, they'll now be in the other folder. Now let's talk a little bit about the window, where you can see the files. And you may see on your screen a bunch of icons that are kind of like the icons on your desktop. They might look like that. And you can do the same thing, or you can change the view. So what you do is you go to the View menu right here, and you click on Details. And with the details, I like to use details because you can see more information about the file that you're working in, the type of file it is, the last time you worked on that file, so on and so forth. So let's talk about selecting multiple files. So let's say you want to move 2 of these files over. Now you have both of those windows open on your screen, and they should be side by side. Okay? So if you click on one file, you can easily drag it over the other, and you can keep doing that. But what if you've got, a couple dozen files that you're dealing with that you need to move over? You don't want to have to do them all one at a time, but you might not want to do them all either. So what you want to do in this case is click one so that one is selected, then you hold down the Control key, and then you click on another file, and then you release the Control key on your keyboard. Now you have 2 files that are selected. You can click and drag those files back over, and now you have the 2 files that you selected. Those are now in the other folder.